I'm listening to a podcast. They're these episodic audio recordings.
I'm familiar with the concept of the podcast. Everyone is.
We have a lot of interesting things to say, so, you know.
Oh, shit. Well, I feel like the conversation we've been having the last 5 minutes is a lot more interesting than the shit they're talking about on the radio. Are you kidding me? Just moronic commentary and stupid sound effects, and it's just dumb. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, we have voices. We talk about the issues, you know? I feel like we could do a podcast, and it would be a million times better than whatever that drivel was we were listening to.
Without a doubt.
It's the greatest podcast ever.
Nothing like getting the endorsement from Bill Burr.
Bill Burr.
And somehow we manage to get it each and every week here on the Jeff Dubay Show with Jason Linse.
He loves us. What can we say?
Yeah, and we are, as always, live from Uptown Fitness.
1207 Lagoon Avenue, right in the heart of Uptown. If you know where Cub Foods is, you know where we're at. We're also, another point of reference is the Lagoon Theater, just right down the street here. We are a small group personal training gym. We do offer one-on-one training. If you want to work one-on-one, we can certainly do that. But most people go with the small group setting so you can get the same kind of experience and benefits of one-on-one with the cost sharing. We're the most affordable personal training gym that delivers the best results in all of Minneapolis.
Oh, just look at me.
Look at, yeah, here we go. He's
I don't see what
he's not a client.
I don't work out here. See, that's what happens when you don't work out here.
Check out uptownfitnessmn.com to schedule your free session.
He's not a client. Make sure you know I'm not a client. All right, it is the Jeff Dubay Show. It is January 20th, 2020. So this would be episode 11.
One day after your 63rd birthday, 52nd?
52nd.
Oh,
very
yeah.
funny. It feels like 70. It feels like 80.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And a lot going on right now. NFC, AFC championships.
Best birthday present you got was a what?
It was a Packers loss, and it was a resounding loss. And I'll tell you what, I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong about this. I really thought Green Bay had a chance going into this game.
So did I.
I was a little concerned about it as a Viking fan. But here's what I love. And this is what makes sports fun to me. And this is where people have to just take a deep breath and lighten up a little bit. I took some shots. I took some shots.
Lighten up.
I took some shots on Facebook, you know.
So did I.
Yeah, you had a great one. Saying, relax, Packer fans, the refs will figure something out in the first half. That was a great line. And then I made a joke about how 2 inches not only kept the Packers from being the number one seed based on that Seattle-San Francisco game, but 2 inches also is going to be what impregnates Danica Patrick someday. You know, with the whole Aaron Rodgers micro penis. But anyway, so we have our fun. We talk trash. We have our fun. I remember back in the day when the Eagles pulled off a miracle victory, a miracle playoff victory against the Packers that ended in a David Akers field goal. PA and I were so overjoyed that the Packers lost that we recorded this ridiculous song to the tune of the Green Acres theme. You know, remember that? Green Acres is the place to be. Yeah, we did it. David Akers is the kicker for me. You know, just ridiculous. I mean,
just the Brett Favre years.
Yeah, that was But yeah, back in the old.
You lost a lot of playoff games.
But this was a game that they had won, and they blew it in epic.
In Lambeau?
Come from ahead fashion. No, I was in Philly. Yeah. But it was fun for us. But so here's the thing. This is one of the things that's fun about sports, and people who get offended easily. Well, people get offended easily, piss me off to begin with.
Get out.
But you just need to lighten up and enjoy the fun of it. This Packer fan I saw, posting on Facebook about all these Vikings fans. Oh, when is your game? What time was your game yesterday? Why do Vikings fans take so much joy? Okay, well, number one, the Packer fans take absolutely as much joy in Vikings fans' misery.
100%.
Vice versa. But the second thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. It's fun.
Yeah.
I used to talk about this all the time back in the day. Yeah, I mean, when I say I hate Wisconsin, I hate the Badgers, I hate the Packers, it's not like Taliban hate. It's not Al-Qaeda hate. It's not Donald Trump hate.
It's not sociopath hate.
Yeah, no, it's sports hate. Yeah. I mean, so if I was traveling overseas, sitting at some sidewalk cafe, sipping some wine in Paris, and a guy from Madison sat down next to me, I'm like, hey, where are you from? Madison. Oh, hey, let's have a beer. That kind of thing.
But it wouldn't be long. Before you made fun of the Packers.
Well, yeah, but in fun. I don't.
Right.
I don't hate.
I'd be like, you're a Packer fan, but you can sit down.
Just have some fun with it. You can live vicariously. You can have the irrational dislike for a group of people. But you don't really hate Packer fans. I don't want a Packer fan to drive off the road and die in a fiery crash and hold up traffic. Yeah. No, but I mean seriously.
Yeah.
It's not Taliban hate. No. It's sports hate. And then I loved it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Nothing wrong with Schadenfreude.
I loved watching Oregon win the Rose Bowl. I loved it. I loved watching Green Bay get smoked in the playoffs. It was fun for me, and I'm sure it was fun for a lot of people.
Oh, it's great.
Especially
the way it happened. It was over in the first quarter.
And I'm sure some Packer fans were torn a week ago because a Viking win would have kept Green Bay home for the NFC Championship. But there was no love lost. Packer fans weren't mourning the Vikings losing to San Francisco.
That's a good point.
They may have been mourning the opportunity to host the NFC Championship.
I don't know that we would have won.
They weren't feeling Vikings fans' pain by any stretch.
No.
They
were all drunk anyway.
Yeah.
They wasn't feeling any pain.
Yeah. So it's Kansas City and San Francisco in the Super Bowl. I understand Kansas City is an early favorite. I'm not a gambler, not a bettor, so I don't even know what the number is specifically.
Kansas City's an early favorite.
It's to me, this is a really fun, intriguing matchup because you've got the single most dynamic offensive talent in the league, maybe ever. At some point, we'll start saying that maybe about Patrick Mahomes. He certainly is by far the most dynamic talent I've ever seen offensively in the league. I would say him and Randy Moss are the two most freakish, difference-making, just break the mold offensive talents I've ever seen.
There. Put him in the Moss category?
Mahomes. Right. When it comes to completely breaking the mold and doing things that nobody before you has ever done, I feel that's who Randy Moss was, and I feel that's in the quarterback position. That's who Patrick Mahomes is. And no disrespect to Lamar Jackson, I don't think there's I would say you could count on one hand, either one, the amount of GMs that would take Lamar Jackson ahead of Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Lamar Jackson, but
Shelf life?
what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes the last year is he's an unequaled talent, an unrivaled talent.
It's pretty impressive.
One thing you're talking about, two guys, they're each at least 2 years in the league, and they've each won an MVP already.
No, well,
or at least Lamar's.
Yes, and how old is Mahomes? 23, 4, something like that?
Yeah, they're 22, 23, whatever. Yeah, 23, I think.
And he led a team back from 21 donut last week.
Both weeks.
They were down.
They were down 10.
Yeah, but the 21-0 or whatever it was 24, I think, wasn't it?
Well, he's got a lot of poise, a lot of composure, but let's not kid ourselves.
A lot of guys would have wilted.
Well, yeah, that's true. But what changed that game? What flipped that game were big special teams plays.
Yeah.
And if you give the ball up,
they took advantage of it.
Absolutely. But if you give the ball up on special teams, nothing turns the game over.
Yeah, you're right.
Turns the game around faster. You're getting the ball and also
fumble punts and stuff.
Yeah, and a ridiculous decision to have a fake punt.
Yeah,
there were a lot of things. There were a lot of reasons for the bizarre happenstance of that Kansas City game. But then for them to come out and be completely flat this week. They were completely flat in that game. And Derrick Henry was slicing and dicing them early. Thing completely turned around though. And it's going to be something else to watch Mahomes, this unbelievable talent, go against that San Francisco defense. That is going to be the matchup that everyone's going to want to see.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it. I don't know which way to go with this one right now.
I don't know. We got 2 weeks to decide.
It's the unstoppable force, immovable object.
I lean towards San Francisco, though. They just seem to be able to run it at will.
The running game, oh my God. Well, here's the criticism we've had of Green Bay all year, and it's the criticism everyone's had of Green Bay all year. The run defense. The run defense is really soft. They were in the 20s. They were ranked in the 20s all year long. Yeah. And that's why I thought the Vikings were going to take care of business on that Monday night. You don't have Cook. You don't have Madison. I still thought they were going to get it done with Boone. In hindsight, that was really naive to think that you're going to beat a team that's a 13-win team, that you're going to beat them with your third-string running back. That is a bit naive. In hindsight, but Green Bay did not have a good run defense really throughout the year, and we saw what it was incredible.
They were exposed for what they are, a 9-7, 10-6 team, right?
Yeah, well, yes and no, but here's the thing. And we've talked about this before. The National Football League, there's nothing separating these teams. There's just not. I know it looks like there is. I know it looks like there's a chasm between San Francisco and Green Bay, or San Francisco and Minnesota, but there's not. And I'll tell you this right now, the narrative completely changes if the Seattle Seahawks get 2 more inches in that Week 17 Sunday night game. If the Seahawks score on that last play rather than having the game and the season end this far from the end zone, then San Francisco's a 5 seed.
And the Packers are a 1 seed.
And the Packers are a 1 seed. And I can't sit there and guarantee that the Niners wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl, but it's unlikely. I know how good they are. I watched how good they've been. But they caught a wave.
Home field is a big deal.
It is. Had they been the 5 seed, they had to play 3 games, not had a bye week, not just 3 games, but 2 on the road. I'm going to say right now, I don't believe San Francisco would go to the Super Bowl had they lost that game. I can't guarantee it, but I don't think they would have. Green Bay as a number 1 seed would have had a great chance.
They would all 3 been on the road. because they would.
All three on the road. That's
Yeah.
right. All three on the road. My bad. They would have been a wild card. All three would have been on the road. So, so people can sit here and say, oh, you get into the post game press conference. Rodgers is at the podium, and the question comes out. So how wide do you think the gap is between you and San Francisco? What do you have to do to narrow that gap? No, I know it looks, based on what you saw on the field that day, it looks significant. But it's not. The gap is not significant between Green Bay and San Francisco. It's not, believe it or not, significant between Minnesota and San Francisco. I mean, you want to play what ifs all day? If the Vikings don't get that phantom pass interference call against them in Green Bay, let's say they go on and the Packers don't get those calls against the Lions. Vikings win the division.
Because we would have won that last game against the Bears.
And the Niners don't pull off. Let's say the Niners don't pull off that miracle finish at the end against the Saints on the road. Let's say they don't stop the Seahawks 2 inches from the goal line. Then the Vikings are a division champion, and the Niners and the Packers are going down the road.
Right.
And they're coming to U.S. Bank, where you have a situation where right now they'd be saying, well, what does Green Bay or San Francisco have to do to close that gap?
Yeah.
Or if Green Bay, does win the division at 13-3, which they did, and San Francisco's a wild card, and San Francisco goes to Green Bay, we'd be talking about what does San Francisco have to do to close this gap between them and Green Bay. There's this much separating these teams in the NFL. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They go into Week 17 as the third seed in the AFC. They're looking at one home game and then 2 road games. No bye, 3 games to get to the Super Bowl. And what happens in Week 17? The Miami Dolphins win at New England in a game that the Patriots needed and played as if they needed.
It was meaningless for Miami.
Yeah, meaningless for Miami. But New England had everything to play for.
Right.
All of a sudden, the Chiefs go from being a 3 seed, again, no bye, 1 home game, 2 road games to get to the Super Bowl.
I'm guessing Miami.
They go from that to being a 2 seed, and when Baltimore loses, Kansas City becomes a 1 seed. So Kansas City, in a matter of 2 weeks, goes from having to go home game, road game, to going bye, home game. And all of a sudden, Kansas City is the Super Bowl favorite. All right? I mean, this is a team that would have been, probably no better than the third choice out of the AFC to make it had Miami not beaten New England. Kansas City would have probably been people's third choice. And now here they are in the Super Bowl and the early betting line
still
favorite.
alive?
Len Dawson, I don't know. Why do you ask? You used to watch him on.
Well, he was the last one to win a Super Bowl for the Chiefs. They've won Super Bowl. They went once and they won
against us 50 years ago. They've been there more than once. They were at Super Bowl 1 against the Packers.
Oh, they did. So they have been there more than once.
Yeah.
So they're 1-1 probably.
I think they've only been there twice. Yeah, they were in Super Bowl 1 against the Packers, and so they would have had the Packers won yesterday. You would have had this repeat of history that the Super Bowl 1 all over again. But thankfully, from our point of view, it did not happen. But so people can sit here, and part of the problem is 24-hour sports networks. All right, they got to have stuff to talk about, and they want to sit there and break down how good is San Francisco? How much better is San Francisco than Green Bay?
Yeah.
How much better is San Francisco than the rest of the NFC? They're not. I mean, they were in the last 2 times they've taken the field.
Any given Sunday.
But again, if the Seattle Seahawks 2 inches, and the Niners are the 5th seed, and they're probably going out in the division round. All right, they're probably going out on the road in the divisional round. I know they looked awfully good, and I know that home field doesn't mean everything, but teams catch this wave. They get it home, and they win a big game, look really good doing it. Now they catch this wave.
Yeah.
Everything, the entire narrative is different if Seattle wins that game Week 17. And I'm not saying that San Francisco didn't deserve to win that game. They did. They won the game. They stopped the guy short of the goal line. They deserve to be the West champ.
One more play.
They deserve to be the 1 seed.
Yeah.
But don't suddenly, invent this scenario in your head in which San Francisco is this team that is all of a sudden on a different plane than everybody in the league. And they're sitting there talking about. I was reading online today. How long is Green Bay's window? Are they going to be competitive next year? They might. They might not. The Vikings might. They might not. The Bears, were a very good team last year.
Injuries play such a big role.
Well, and here's the other thing that plays a big role is schedule.
Yeah.
The Bears, I said this before the season started, the Bears last year were partly a product of a 4th-place schedule.
Yeah.
Their schedule was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the Packers had that same advantage this year. They played a 3rd-place schedule, if I'm not mistaken. And next year, guess what? They have to play a 1st-place schedule. Last year, the Vikings played a 1st-place schedule, and it was a bear. I mean, no pun intended. I mean, it was a bitch of a schedule. Yeah. You're playing all the other divisional champions. Green Bay is going to play the other divisional champions next year. The Bears are going to play the 3rd-place teams from the other divisions. Yeah. And it's a big, big difference. So, I mean, these little things turn 13-3 one year into 9-7 the next year. They turn 9-7 one year into 13-3 the next year. And the fact is, there's no real significant difference between a 13-win team and a 9-win team, other than a break here or there, or a couple inches here or there. And there just really isn't. And people want to, they need.
Yeah, but
they need things to talk about
Sure.
on ESPN. They need, so they sit there and try to break it down. What are the differences in these teams?
Yeah.
There's not. There's just
not a ton, but it still comes down to good quarterback play, right?
Well, that's still the biggest deciding factor in the NFL.
Right.
I think it's quarterback play. I think coaching still matters a lot in the National Football League.
Really?
I do. I think in this day and age where quarterback is so valued, and rightfully so, that the way you coach a quarterback is extraordinarily valuable. That's why I use the term quarterback whisperer. I mean, these quarterback whisperers are the guys who are getting all the opportunity right now in the National Football League. Cliff Kingsbury. I think someday Lincoln Riley, Matt LaFleur. I mean, these are quarterback whisperers. These are the guys that if you're gonna put all your eggs in your quarterback's basket, then you've got to have somebody who's going to get the absolute best. It's like having Secretariat and putting me in the jockey silks. If you don't, I mean, you got to have somebody who's going to get that thoroughbred home. I've got him sounding more and more like Paul Allen, like my old buddy. And I say that sincerely. I feel like that sounded sarcastic, but he is my old buddy.
Yeah, who weighs more, you or him?
Dude, it's got to be me. I'm so fat right now, it's unbelievable. But you know what? It's a telltale sign of sobriety. So I deal with the man boobs. What they are. Plus, it kind of makes myself. I was going to make a poor joke about being aroused by myself in the mirror, but that's not true because my breasts are hairy, and that's just never been my thing.
Disgusting. Let's change the subject on that rack of Dubay.
Yeah. So anyway, it's San Francisco. It's Kansas City. I'm looking forward to it. I saw somebody.
Who are you
post-
rooting for?
It's a good question. I mean, I don't have a horse in this race. I mean, I think it's a good matchup.
I'm going historical Super Bowls. I just learned. I thought they were 1-0, but they're 1-1. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The 49ers are 5-1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and the last time the 49ers were in it, I still feel they were, that they were absolutely screwed at the end of the game. They were throwing the ball to the end zone. The receiver, I felt, was grabbed in the back and pulled down. Should have been an interference call. I really felt for him. I thought it was.
What game are you talking about?
The 49ers won Super Bowl loss to Flacco and the Ravens a few years ago. Kaepernick beat Flacco.
Who was quarterback in the 49ers then?
Kaepernick.
Oh, yeah.
And then, by the way, the Niners drilled Green Bay in the playoffs that year in San Francisco too. I mean, Kaepernick was Mostert. I mean, he was just like he's having like 60-yard touchdown runs. I mean, he was doing everything. I mean, if you watch that game, you would think that Kaepernick would be the ultimate
the greatest quarterback ever
in the future of the league. I mean, and at that time, I kind of thought he was.
By the way, do you think he's talented enough to start an NFL team? We never talked about
in
that.
The right situation. He's certainly talented enough to be in the league.
Will he ever be in the league?
Well, but I mean, he is a disruptive force. I'm not talking about his taking a knee. I'm not talking about his taking a knee and during the anthem and stand up for what he believes. And I respect that. I get that. And it's not a move of disrespect. It's a move of respect for something in which he believes. And I got no problem with that. But like this whole workout thing that he put on, that was ridiculous. I mean, he did it for attention, and he made it as difficult as possible for people to attend it and to get anything out of it, so he could pretend he's the victim and pretend he's being victimized and taken like blacklisted by the NFL. I mean, he changed the location.
Yeah.
He limited access. He's one of these guys who I think wants to create bad situations for himself.
Yeah. And
then claim that he's the victim of it all. It's too bad because he definitely has had talent. He needs a unique system. He needs to play in a unique offensive system to maximize those.
How come nobody's looked at him? Because of the distraction factor?
Partly, I think that's part of it, but I think also because most teams would look at him as a backup, and you'd have to play behind somebody who has a similar skill set. So he would fit maybe as a backup in Baltimore, maybe in Seattle. Because you don't want a backup that you're gonna have to change your whole offensive philosophy for if your starter goes down. That's just too much trauma for most offenses to be able to undertake and still be successful. So anyway, for at least a couple of weeks, putting a wrap on the NFL season.
You want to talk Gopher?
We'll have to talk Gopher hoops, and also the fact that Saturday night I went to the Timberwolves game.
Sorry to hear that.
What a horrible product.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the NBA to begin with. I
don't either.
The NBA, I think the NBA is a garbage product. I've said for years and years, maybe 5 markets, not franchises, markets in the NBA that matter. You know, New York,
Miami.
LA, Chicago, Miami, you know, Boston, whatever. And then if you're not one of those markets, you might as well just pack up. Now, people say, well, what about San Antonio and their great run? That is the one exception. And that is the one time and the last time that anybody in the NBA will be lucky enough to get players like Ginobili, Parker, Duncan, who care more about rings than they do about a hip-hop career
that coach,
or a
too.
TV career and a great coach. I mean, yes, Milwaukee's experiencing some success right now, but Giannis isn't going to be there forever. And then, you know, sometimes a franchise can draft that perfect player. That they can get that one player that's going to be a difference maker and kind of transform the franchise. But how long can you keep that one player? And are you ever going to be able to put enough around him? I mean, you know, the story hasn't been written with Milwaukee yet. But I mean, once in a while, these flyover country teams are going to draft the right guy, and then it'll make a difference in the short term. But in the long term, excuse me, Milwaukee will never really be a factor in the NBA. Neither will the market of Minneapolis, and it just is what it is. I mean, we are going to be, you know, relegated to watching the Jarrett Culvers of the world, and he's a fine player. You know, he go off for 20, he could score. You know, but he's not.
Is there anything that can be done to fix that? Is there any solution?
No, because it's the hip hop culture. It's I want to be a nightclub. I want to go nightclub and I want to make it rain. I want to have a hip hop career. LeBron James went to LA before he even signed a contract. He had 13 TV deals in place. I mean, for shows that he was either going to consult on, produce, appear on, be the creator of. And I mean, and for people who want to doubt my theory about the NBA, think about this. I think Jordan's the greatest of all time. But just for the sake of argument, we're going to say, you know, one of these flyover country teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers, have arguably the greatest player of all time, you know, born and raised in their backyard, you know, Akron. I mean, close enough anyway. You know,
30 minutes.
One of them, one of their own, we like to say one of us, you know, guys from Minnesota, he's one of us. So here he is, and you know how he's one of them. He fits right in, and sure enough, they're lucky enough to get a chance to draft him. I mean, the stars are aligning, and they lose him not once but twice to free agency, to the markets of Miami and Los Angeles. And that's all you need to know.
Despite the fact that they won a championship.
Yes. It's just ridiculous. I mean, if a place like Cleveland can't succeed with a generational player like LeBron, and they lost him twice. And absolutely, he went to LA for opportunities that had nothing to do with basketball. Now they've put players around him, and now they're a very good team. But when he went there, they had nothing. And I know that he went there. You know, he sat down and had talks with people with the front office, and they had a plan in place and that was going to have a chance to make them competitive. But that's not why he went there. He went there for the entertainment opportunities, the movie deals, the TV deals. And it's just, I mean, nobody wants to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. There are players who are forced to. You know, there are players who maybe settle for it.
Karl-Anthony Towns.
Yeah, nobody wants to play for the. I mean, who wants to play for the Minnesota? I'm not sure I would accept a contract offer, maybe a 10-day, so I can get my feet wet and kind of see how it feels. But nobody wants to. You can't attract anybody here. You'll never. So the only chance you ever have of even being a blip on the radar is having like a really, really great draft pick, you know, and then maybe backing them up with another one where, okay, we've got these couple guys locked up on rookie contracts. We're going to be good for a few years. Enjoy it while it lasts. I mean, the NBA offers no hope to 90% of the markets. It's just
is there anything they can do? Can't they change the rules? Would that help?
How can they make a player want to be in the Midwest? How can they make a player not want to be in New York City?
Why does it work in football?
Well, not everybody in football is trying to live the hip hop gangster lifestyle. NBA players, and I know I'm stereotyping a little bit here, but NBA players love to club. They love the nightlife. They like to boogie on the disco. Whatever.
And they don't like doing it in Minneapolis?
It's not really the nightclub center of the world.
Well, then neither is anywhere else except, I suppose, you make
Miami, New York, Los Angeles. And it's not just that. It's not just being able to go out and party and make it rain. I love doing that. But it's also, like I said, it's like having the opportunity to record a hip-hop album. It's having the opportunity to star in a television show or to create a television show or be the producer or whatever. I mean, like LeBron has got like TV shows that he doesn't even really appear on, but I believe he's like the
he's
but he's like the creator.
Let's go down.
But I mean, Shaq had the same.
On the food chain.
Shaquille had the same opportunities.
Well, Kate, all right.
I mean, it is what it is. It's just there are opportunities that exist in these markets that go beyond, playing basketball. And that's what it's about for so many of these guys. And then we're talking about the best of the best, the elite, that can write their own ticket. Not everybody can do that. But anyway, to me, the NBA is it's a garbage league because it is it's just unbalanced, and it always will be. And then to me, it's just a big giant dumpster fire. And the Wolves are basically, a turd in the bottom corner of that dumpster. Just way down there, like some nasty spilled soft drink with the diaper wrapped around it or something. I mean, it's a bad product wrapped inside of a bad product.
Yeah.
I feel him, and I love Ryan Saunders. I wish him all the best. But oh my God, I mean, it was awful. It was the night.
So they played bad, but also I heard that during the games they constantly have audio going.
It's really annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like an MC DJ kind of thing.
Yeah, that would drive me nuts.
Yes, and he's on the mic going, "Hey, welcome everybody to Target Center. Hey, we're gonna rock and roll tonight. We're back off a road trip, and we're gonna." I'm just like, when is this guy gonna stop yelling at me? If he doesn't stop yelling at me, I'm going home. It's just obnoxious. And then they've got a team of breakdancers. I mean, breakdancing was a thing when I was in high school.
1988.
When I was in high school in 1986, breakdancing was a thing. It was a thing that annoyed me in 30 years.
Put the cardboard down and do
they're called the First Avenue Breakers. They come out and they breakdance. I'm like, is this a thing still? I mean, are we this far behind the times, or does it come around?
Don't you remember the movie Break
It?
It?
Again? Yes, this is all from like the 80s. I don't know, somewhere Herbie Hancock is smiling.
And the greatest sequel ever, Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. You don't remember this?
No.
That was. Do you remember Breakin' the movie?
Is that where
they actually had a Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo?
So is that where Always Sunny in Philadelphia got the name for Charlie McDennis? Remember he changed it to
probably
Electric Boogaloo?
I don't have my phone, but I bet that's got a really bad rating anyway.
So anyway, and I feel bad.
So,
it all comes down to personal taste. Maybe there's people who love the NBA, and I love basketball. I love college basketball. We'll talk a little bit about.
Let's talk about that before we're done.
I mean,
nobody cares about the Timberwolves.
Yeah,
but we have a team here, the Golden Gophers, the only Division I basketball team in Minnesota, right? Am I correct in that?
Yeah.
Which would be nice if we had two, but I don't know who that would be. But we've got Little Patino, as I call him, in his 7th season, but this is an interesting year because even though now a couple of things, Scarlet Knights are ranked and they're pretty good.
They're a good team.
And we got drilled by them yesterday on the road, but we're still kind of a bubble tournament team because of the new kind of rules on strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Like we could legitimately get in at 17 wins potentially, right?
What I like about potentially. I mean, it would have been nice if they would have pulled out that Purdue game. I think that's going to
come back and haunt them. Yes, I agree.
But I tell you what, to me, college basketball is and has been for a long time all about the guard play. You got to have people who can knock down threes. And the Gophers, Marcus Carr is a really nice player. I think Peyton Willis is a really nice outside shooter. Kalsher is so streaky. When he's on, he's fantastic.
Right now he's on a bad streak.
He's on a really bad streak. But I tell you what, and then you combine that, the inside-outside. I mean, Oturu is looking like a lottery pick. I mean, he's scoring 20 and rebounding.
He going after this year, right?
Probably. I mean, he looks really good. But if you haven't watched this Gopher basketball team, and I'll tell you this, I wrote them off kind of early because they had a losing record through much of their non-conference. Yeah. Now it was a tough non-conference. I mean, I watched them play Oklahoma in that game, that arena in South Dakota. I forget what it's called. But it was a game that they had a chance to win, and they let slip away from in the last 10 minutes. No, it wasn't the Corn Palace. No. But they go on to lose to Butler, and I think the one thing we did do is we beat somebody in the ACC Challenge, Big Ten. Then we beat like Clemson or somebody in the Big Ten.
Somebody,
ACC,
yep,
something.
You're right.
But anyway, long story short, it's a team that I wrote off and didn't watch a lot of because the record was so down coming out of the non-conference, to the point where I figured, well, how's that going to be? How can you even, rehabilitate that record enough to get into the tournament or be in tournament talk? But they're playing pretty well. They're playing pretty well. And they've beaten Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State. Those are good wins. Penn State is not your father's Penn State when it comes to basketball. It was a pretty good team, but it was a nice win at home. I think this is a team that's going to get to the Big Ten tournament with a chance to play themselves into the NCAA tournament. And so that's what I want to see. I want to see games that matter.
Yeah.
You might have to steal one on the road along the way. You really do have good guard play, and you've got a great inside-outside thing with Carr and Oturu. I mean, Oturu for the season, counting non-conference, is averaging 23 a game, and Carr's averaging 20 a game. I mean, I can't remember the last time the Gophers had two.
I didn't watch any preseason, saw that they were bad, just like you did. And,
well, they didn't work.
And I thought this is going to be the year. This is going to be a year like 2-3 years ago, I think it was, where it was like, what's the point? They're terrible. But they've given me some reasons to tune in and watch. Yeah. This year I'd be happy with a 10-11 seed on a bubble team, and get in. And even if you get drilled the first round, who cares?
Well, and teams who can shoot the three always have a chance. And when you have Carr, Willis, Trey Williams, Cal Scher, I mean, you've got guys who can shoot the three. You typically have 3 guys on the court at any time who can shoot the three, and that's not counting Oturu. Even though I've seen him knock down a few lately, I still prefer to see him a little closer.
And they've shown they can compete against some of the best teams in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, they've also been drilled a lot. That's whatever.
Yeah.
So they're streaky.
Yeah, they are. And the home dominance of Big Ten teams right now is really something. I mean,
nobody can win on the road.
No, very few. Yeah. One of those teams is Wisconsin. They won a couple on the road, but they've also lost at home. They lost at home to Illinois. So
nobody cares about that.
No, it's just the Big Ten is from number 1 to down to like number 8 or 9.
Yeah,
it's really tight. And when I'm watching games on the Big Ten Network, I don't know if the announcers, they're employed by the Big Ten, I suppose, so that they might have some bias, but they talk about the Big Ten maybe going 10-11 deep, at least when it comes to teams that will be under consideration for the tournament. Not necessarily, predicting that they get 10 or 11, but that there'll at least be 10 or 11 under consideration, which is an outrageously high number. And the Gophers certainly are in the top 10 or 11 in the Big Ten right now, and they should stay there. Again, if you get good guard play and you can shoot the three, the three-point shot is a great equalizer in college basketball. It's not that hard of a shot if you can knock it down. I mean, the simple math. I mean, I've always just marveled at the simple math of it. I mean, if you're shooting 3-point shots, if your opponent's shooting 2s, let's say they're shooting 2s, you each take, 9 shots. Let's keep it an even number. Let's say 12. They got to make 6 shots to score 12 points.
Correct.
You only need to make 3 shots.
Yeah.
Well, you can shoot. So you're shooting 25% to their 50%.
Well, you need to make 4 shots.
Well, 4 shots. My bad. Yeah, they're Mr. Math.
2/3.
But yeah. So you make it 4. So you get 33.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you shoot 33% from 3-point range, which is not a high percentage, that is equal to shooting 50% from 2-point range.
Correct.
I mean, to me, the math is you can't. Even though I just screwed the math up, you can't deny it. I mean, shoot threes, just shoot threes all day long. And don't get me wrong, you got to feed Oturu, you got to get him in.
It's one of the reasons they backed the lineup, because back when I played, it's a shorter line.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't play college, but back
I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's the Gophers have at any time 3 or 4 guys on the court who can shoot it, and it's just a tremendous equalizer. The mathematics of it all.
Where are the Packers guys? Gone.
Yeah,
they're home.
Phil Olsen, he didn't.
No, Phil's hasn't made a comment.
Yeah, that's what I think what this guy means. Where's the Packers guy?
Yeah, where's the Packers guy?
I feel a little bad.
Well, if you take it that seriously,
I think Phil's kind of tongue in cheek for the most part. And he just didn't want to take. Phil, I wasn't going to go after you. Yeah, Jason.
Oh, I would have been.
Yeah, you're
brutal.
Yeah,
so I got a friend who, this is how petty I am. He when the Vikings were getting drilled last week, he's leaving me alone. But I wasn't leaving him alone yesterday. I'm sending him memes,
right.
and he made some comment, and he goes, "You guys got drilled too." I go, "Not this bad." This is when it was like 20, whatever. The Packers were down by a lot. Anyway, I'm petty.
Yeah, I mean, it was something to see. For the first, 2.5, 3 quarters, the running game. I mean, they were popping 20, 30-yard runs just routinely. I mean, just hand the ball up off right up the middle.
I didn't check numbers.
Uncontested.
Was Rodgers underperforming? Was he not?
No, he wasn't the problem. I mean, he finished like 30 out of 35 or something.
Okay.
I mean,
what about Garoppolo? How was he?
He did nothing.
Yeah, right.
They got into the fourth quarter. I believe they got into the fourth quarter of that game, and Garoppolo had thrown 6 passes.
Yeah.
It was really remarkable.
But I mean, that's fine.
I mean, they remarked about it on TV that he had gone an hour and a half of real time since his last throw. Like when Green Bay made it 34-20 and the Niners are going out on offense, Aikman is bringing up the fact that, this is interesting because there's enough time for 2 touchdowns. There's like 8 minutes left.
Yeah.
And Garoppolo, so he's going to have to throw the football here to make some first downs.
Yeah.
And he has literally not thrown a pass for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And all of a sudden you got to find your rhythm. And he did. He came out and completed a couple passes.
Well,
they went down the field and they got a field goal.
That was why I was nervous. I'm like, God, if he goes out and throws a pick or fumbles it.
What made me nervous about this game going in was I trusted Rodgers so much more than Garoppolo because
for obvious reasons.
Like Garoppolo, there are many reasons, but I mean, he put 3 or 4 balls in the air last week against the Vikings. that, you got to take advantage of. I mean, just flutterers that are just, and
Tim Tebow type.
on a couple of them, he was like hit as he let him go.
Yeah.
One of them, it just kind of came out of his hand funny. But I mean, big third downs where all of a sudden this quacker just comes fluttering out of his hands, and you're like, someone's got to pick that off. And not only do they not pick it off, but some guy comes out of nowhere sliding in, sliding in catches. It's like, what the hell? So I mean, I thought, boy, if he puts a couple of those up against Green Bay, it could be game changing. But the guy threw 6 passes in the first 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
It's hard to screw the game up if that's how you're going to do. But anyway, that's going to do it for episode 11. Unless you got anything.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
Check out UptownFitnessMN.com and get a free session scheduled and get fit.
Perfect.
You should be a client, Jeff. So long. Peace. See you. Thanks for comments.